Before we talk about Lions, Eagles specifically, we're going to go to one of the news departments.
Okay.
In Philadelphia, kind of accidentally / organically happened.
Yeah.
We have an expert breakdown of Detroit, Philadelphia before we get into the X's and O's. Take a listen.
Old co-workers took the ladder off the truck, raised it up, and was assisting people down. My man just started throwing babies out the window. Wow. We was catching them, unlike Aguilar.
Just did it so seamlessly. Just threw it out there, didn't even break stride.
They're some of the greatest sports fans in the world there, because there's like a real dire life moment, but he still hasn't forgot about Aguilar dropping freaking passes. He's going to say,
right.
Yeah, I saved babies all day, and there's a fire engine behind me. But Aguilar can't catch the freaking ball. I just love that. That was one of the all-time clips.
And apparently he's got some humility and sense of humor. I've heard that he's offered free tickets, has reached out in a kind way.
He has. Very nice. Good job by him doing reverse psychology on the situation and going,
right.
Oh, yeah, you want to crap on me because I keep dropping the ball? Hey, come to the game. So maybe this will make you feel better and you'll stop crapping on me.
Let's start with the Eagles offense, if
Yeah.
that's all right with you. They kind of hit hard times.
Yep.
And my number one worry or concern there, question I had for you, what are they missing on that offense now that they haven't had Deshaun Jackson,
Yeah.
and also Alshon Jeffrey?
Yeah, I think that's the $1 million question, right? Because I've had a few people ask me that. I mean, what does that do for them? And okay, this is why, again, I love Doug Peterson. I love I love him as a head coach, and I love the play caller, Doug Peterson, too. Mm-hmm. I do. But this is why I sometimes say he's not in like the McVay, Sean Payton, Shanahan, Josh McDaniels class of OCs. He's that next group down. He's not there. And why I say that is because his offense has everything, but it's more about the players than the plays, if this makes sense, okay? Where McVay, Shanahan, McDaniels, they can crack the code on a weekly basis. And it doesn't matter if it's Edelman this week. Oh, no, it's our other random white guy that you've never heard of. He's open over the middle. We don't know how, why, how do they do it? Well, it's because they can crack the code on the defense and what they're doing and attack the rules that you've heard me talk about.
Yeah.
And yes, of course, they miss the better players. Like, yeah, if the Patriots don't have Edelman and the other guy that's got to come in and catches the ball, he might not make the most of it after the catch or do things like that.
Right.
But regardless, they're going to be open. And I can say the same thing with Shanahan and McVay and Sean Payton. Like, they're going to get guys open. It doesn't matter if you're playing receiver or if it's Michael Thomas. They're going to do it.
Speaking of Michael Thomas, though, going back to the game we just talked about, the Saints, and what a nice job Teddy Bridgewater did. Mm-hmm. And Sean Payton is a terrific play caller.
Right.
But according to this theory here, if he didn't have Michael Thomas, if he didn't have Alvin Kamara, Bridgewater still would have had a good time or had a good game because the play calling is so good.
Because he would have found another guy to go, I'll feature this freaking, oh, that's right, I got Jared Cook over here.
I don't know.
Well, I'm just telling you, I do know, okay? I mean, listen, we've been saying New England never has good receivers, right?
Right.
And yet they're always open. Every year I just look at film and go, he's open, never heard of him. He's open, never heard of him. Oh, he came from what college? 7th round pick. He's open, never heard of him. I mean, it's the same thing with the damn Sean Payton and them. I just did. Oh, Marquise Colston's a slot receiver. Damn, he was doing the same thing Michael Thomas is doing a few years ago. Is it as good without those guys? No, I'm not trying to say that. But where I'm getting to the point with Philadelphia is they are not necessarily a game plan specific team as much as the other ones. Where Payton, McVay, Shanahan, McDaniels, they're going to come into a game and go, I got like 9 or 10 plays that are just going to their world up today.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. The rules are going to be busted. Philadelphia comes into the game and goes, this is our offense. We got everything. We like these group of plays this week against what they do defensively, but they're not necessarily game plan specific. Like, they didn't change the plays for the opponent they play. What they will do is, okay, this is a play we run all the time. Hey, this week, Carson, if you see this coverage when we do call this play, put an alert on it on your playbook. Or we just want you to alert it. If we get cover 4 and on this play this week, Deshaun Jackson's running the post route, then we just want you to figure it out and then throw it deep to Deshaun Jackson, right? And that's where they miss that. They miss the little bit of the one-on-one element that they put within their offense, and it kind of comes naturally within the plays, and they don't have those guys there either. Like, hey, they're going to call the same plays they'd called last week on Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers, but it sounds like he's going to have Alshon Jeffrey, and a few times he's just going to go, oh, coach told me when I got one-on-one with Alshon and I do this, I throw it to him, and he's just going to throw it to him. It's not not like it was a game plan design play like, oh, it's one-on-one and Alshon, you run straight and Carson, you throw it to him. No, it's just kind of normal within the flow of the offense. And that's where they get hurt by Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey not being in there because they lose those little matchup elements that just kind of come within the natural flow of the plays they call offensively anyways. I hope that made sense.
It does make sense.
It makes sense?
People don't have to agree with it.
Yeah, right.
It does make sense.
Yes.
Let's take that, spin it forward to Thursday night.
Right.
No Deshaun Jackson, likely Alshon Jeffrey, like you pointed out. What would you like to see them do differently against this defense, which the last couple of weeks we've been very high on?
Yeah, well, the defense is phenomenal. They can play you man-to-man across the board and really make life hard on you. I mean, that's the first thing. So, if you think you're going to, get easy completions against Green Bay on 3rd and 5 and 3rd and 6 and stuff like that, you're not. Mm-hmm. So, some of your little short crossing routes and things like that, they're not going to be there. I mean, just some of that stuff they're going to take away. And then, let alone, Pettine's pretty good at dialing up the right zone coverage when he needs to, too. And they rush the passer. All right, but, things that, again, let's see. What do I want to say here? I want Philadelphia under the center more. That's another thing I wrote. Yep. Under the center, they went under the center the second series, play action pass, 30-yard gain. Then we don't go to it. I don't see it again for 40 plays. I don't understand it. I just sometimes look at teams and go, do you see the results you're getting when you're going underneath center? And do you see that then you get away from it and nothing good happens like that for a long, long time? So that bothers me. I guess... Let me just without those two guys, they're really having a hard time finding the explosive plays I've talked about, and that's where you talk about Thursday to spin it forward. They need to find more ways that way. This is where I would go. Mike Groh, Doug Peterson, they got to go into the lab and not just go, this is our offense and we have everything, and within our offense, things and plays will develop. I think they need a few we're going to call this on when we get a 2nd and 7 because we feel like they play this defense and we're going to draw up this play this week to screw it over and create a big play. That's what they need to do. Even the end of the game, you saw the drop pass by J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a called shot. Again, it's a play where they've ran that play 5 times during the day. But he finally saw the coverage to go, ooh, I got it, what I want to throw that shot, let me throw it. So that's what I mean by what they do on the offensive side of the ball. I just think that's about it for that one. Anything else jump out at you from my notes?
From that part of it, no.
Yeah.
What I think about most of the Philly offense, I wanted to know what you saw that they're missing without those two guys. And I think spinning it ahead to Thursday was what I wanted to do the most. If Green Bay is going to play a lot of man-to-man, who do you have Philadelphia-wise outside of Jeffrey that really can beat a man-to-man coverage?
Right. Mac Hollins is, I think, the next guy I look at to go, as far as a down-the-field threat, deep guy. I think he's the next guy as far as, can scare you.
What about Ertz against those safeties?
Yeah, Ertz against the safeties, okay. But they're not going to pressure. He's not going to pressure. There's a reason the guy had 140 catches last year and barely got to 1,000 yards.
Right.
It just tells you they want to use him anywhere from 5 to 12 yards over the middle. He's not going to get explosive plays against that. That's not the kind of guy he is. So that's my big thing is they just have to find ways to finagle a few explosive plays because they can move the ball. And their offense has everything, like I said. I just wish they would run the ball down the hill a little bit more. I always say that about them. Also, we got to give the Lions defense a little credit. Lions defense, the one thing I'll say about them, they're not going to mess up. They're well coached. Mm-hmm. They're going to throw a few curveballs at you in some situations where Matt Patricia goes, ooh, they like to do this on 3rd down. Oh, I got the 2 guys they like to kind of work on this play on 3rd down. They're doubled. He'll do a few curveballs that way, but they're not overly talented defense, but they're big up front. You're not going to gash them in the run game. He's not going to call anything crazy stupid on the defensive side of the ball. He's going to go, no, we know what we're doing. We're going to play sound. You're not going to run the ball. Let's see if you can go 10-play drive, 75 yards touchdown, 12-play drive, 75-yard touchdown. And what happened in the game this week? It didn't happen because there they were. Oh, man, we're going down the field. We're the Eagles. Nelson Aguilar fumble. Oh, field goal Detroit Lions. Next drive. Oh, we're going down the field again. Oh, Miles Sanders fumble. Boom. There you go. Oh, now another field goal. The Eagles, there was 13 points given up, and their defense didn't have anything to do with it. And I think that's got to be taken. But I do give the Lions a lot of credit for the way they play. He has figured out what works for his team, Matt Patricia, and I think that has to be noticed. I mean, they're undefeated. They have not lost the game.
They haven't lost the game yet.
They're 2-0-1. And
I'd like to hit their offense.
Yeah, and then this is what we're going to get to, because it's the last thing I'll say about their defense. They're like their offense. The thing I like about the Lions, they're physical, they're patient, and they're going to make offenses earn it. They don't take chances, and they're sound in the run and pass game, and a few little wrinkles, like I said. And I think that's great, because it's complementary football to what they're same way on the offensive side of the ball as we go to that.
Right.
It's not take a lot of chances. We're going to run the ball. We're going to have a game plan play here or there just to kind of screw you over. And because of the way he's coaching them, I do think he's made them a legitimate threat in the NFC.
You're talking about he being Matt
Patricia. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So boiling it down to the offense, because this is the first time I think that we've really talked about the Lions' offense.
Yeah.
Just taking a step back, Darrell Bevell is in as the offensive coordinator after 7 seasons in Seattle. You talk about getting used to a team that had an identity with the system, with Russell Wilson, and how strong that defense was. So major adjustment for Bevell after being out for a year after those 7 seasons. And I want to start right here. You said Stafford has adjusted to a new style of play.
He has, because he's been.
What part of it's new to him?
Well, this what we run it on first and run it on second, and now you need me to make a throw on third. I'm used to just put me in the shotgun and I throw it every play, and it's a street backyard football again. I can just sling it anywhere and have no conscience, and we'll probably be down in the 4th, but don't worry, guys, I'll make it happen and we'll win again. And I do think he's adjusted. He showed me through 3 weeks he understands about when to take a chance, taking care of the football. He's just playing quarterback the way like Tom Brady had to play it back in 2003 and 2004. And it's a culture change for him, because he's never had to be that guy. And I think he has adjusted to it. He showed us that the first 3 weeks of the year. And this was a great example of it in this game.
He's still super talented, fitting it into tight windows.
Whoa, my gosh. Some of the throws he made in the game were phenomenal. I don't care if it was 201 yards. It's the quality of when some of those completions happen, and the quality of throws to make it happen, it still can't go unnoticed, even though it doesn't look that sexy on the stat sheet.
You bring up his stats. He was 18 to 32 for 201, 1 touchdown, no picks.
Yeah.
If you're a real Lions fan and you win with that, that's fantastic. How many times the last 8-9 years has Matthew Stafford been 29 to 57 for 400 yards and they end up losing?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of a fun
watch.
But to have them win and he's just solid, that's a giant step in the right direction for them.
Giant step. I think it's the best thing for their football team. And like I said, they're playing complementary football too, to where the offense matches the defense, and usually good teams are built that way.
And I wanted you to, I wrote that down, complementary football. Like, it's a really nice compliment to pay people, but I always want to hear more specifically. So take it a couple levels more specifically.
Well, they just believe in physicality, patience. This is what we do. We're going to be sound doing it. We're not going to take chances on either side of the ball. We think you'll mess it up, and we're just going to continue to kind of stay with what we do. I mean, they don't get away from the run game. That's the first I wrote. I mean, there's 2 things that jump out at me. They are not going to get away from the run game. They are going to continue to pound it in there. I don't care if there's no holes. I mean, Kerryon Johnson ran the ball 20 times for 36 yards.
Right.
So if that doesn't tell you patience in the run game, I don't know what does.
Keeping the offense on schedule, no matter how many yards he's getting.
Yeah, and he's going, I'm not going to let this Eagles D-line tee off on Matt Stafford. I'm going to let my O-line continue to kind of impose their will, And then because on the defensive side of the ball, he can play, he can play field position and all of that. But that, and then, the other thing, I wrote 2 things that jump out with the run game patience, and Stafford makes just some great throws into really tight coverage.
Always.
We only ran for 2 yards on 1st and 2nd down. Well, 3rd down, okay, I'm Matt Stafford and you're paying me $25 million. I can throw that curl in there, even though it's really tight. I can unleash the howitzer and squeeze it in. And I think, there is something to this. It's not always easy playing quarterback in that style of offense.
Right. And it's, as you pointed out very well, it's a big change for him.
Yep.
I want to ask you this question that you wrote down in your notes that you didn't get a chance to answer. That you would love to actually answer it. If Lions cannot run, can they depend on Darrell Bevell's passing game?
That is my number 1 question of there.
What makes you most cynical?
Well, their run game has creativity and their patience, but the pass game is a little, it's basic. I don't look at the pass game through 3 weeks and go, ooh, they're doing some cutting edge stuff, or this is really cool. They got a lot of the basics in, and it's not like I'm sitting here going, this is the worst pass offense I've ever seen.
Do you recognize it from when Darryl was in Seattle?
Yeah, it's maybe a little bit better as far as how he ties together plays better, I think, with the run game and some of the play action they're doing now. But I just worry that somehow they get into a game and whatever, some turnovers happen, their kick returner fumbles the ball, punt got blocked, and all of a sudden they look up and they go, damn, we're down 24-7, and it's just like, not that we just messed it up. Can they really get in the shootout and come back that way? I don't know about that. I need to see more evidence first before I can say yes or no to that. Other thing that needs to be noted, Eagles defense. Eagles defense played good enough to win this game. Let's just get that straight. We just talked about 36 yards off 20 attempts in the run game, 200 yards only in the pass game. I mean, hey, the Eagles held them to 287 yards.
Right.
Eagles offense this game over with the 2 fumbles and then the special teams letting the kick return go. And you know what? I mean, sometimes I watch the Eagles film and I go, I think Jim Schwartz is listening to the podcast, because what he didn't do this week, okay?
Not as aggressive?
No.
Yeah.
And they were phenomenal. I mean, that's why their stats weren't great. They didn't let them have there's no safety, or it's man-to-man, and Stafford can just throw a bomb up in the air and we'll see what happens. Right. There was none of those opportunities afforded to them. Because you're not too aggressive blitzing and stuff like that too, you don't get gashed in the run game. You don't get one guy like, oh, we're blitzing this gap and this gap, and then you get like a run block down, and all of a sudden you got 3 guys in one gap, and you go, damn, there's a huge hole there. And I'm going to go, well, yeah, you tried to blitz, and everybody got caught up, and now there's a giant hole that a truck can go through. So I thought that was encouraging.
I think I also want to point out, listening to you there, that
they
didn't have a single sack and didn't have a single pick, that sometimes stats are just misleading and don't mean anything, because you are hard to please defensively.
I am.
You've pointed out how Philadelphia's been a little too aggressive, haven't been at their best.
Yep.
You said they played a very good game.
Really good
game.
game.
Numbers people look at to judge that weren't there.
Yeah.
Because
they're just going to look at it and go 27-24, they must have not played well.
Right.
Yeah, and I want to go, no, 20 for 36 would be the thing I would tell you. 20 rushes for 36 yards from one of the better running backs in football.
Hard to be much better.
Right. Matt Stafford, 18 for 32, 201 yards.
Pedestrian.
Right. So he had the right formula. Hey, the thing that stinks about the Eagles a little bit, and where Schwartz, I give him a lot of credit, he's in a little bit of a bind. They can't rush the passer.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. Fletcher Cox is not Fletcher Cox right now. I got to think the toe injury or whatever it is. He's still good, but he was like one of the ultimate the play up kind of guys.
You notice it on film?
Yeah, he's not that right now. He's good. He's not a weakness. He's still really good. But he was a guy I could turn on the film on a weekly basis and go, there's going to be 8 or 10 plays in here where Fletcher Cox is going to ruin the offense altogether.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.